What is up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday night's main event. What is happening? We've got some technical difficulties going on tonight. As you see, I am by myself tonight as of right now. Don't know what's going on. So hopefully we'll hear something that's going on with Kevin. I'm kind of clueless and up in the air what's going on. And our guest for tonight, Jacob Grubbs. We have not heard from him. He is supposed to be here tonight. So hopefully he may come in here a little bit. He does have the link. So hopefully we'll see him coming in a little bit. But appreciate everybody coming in here and hanging out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Share it out, guys. So I've got messages out trying to figure out what's going on. So hopefully we'll hear something back. I've texted him. I've texted his wife. So I guess we'll find out shortly, I guess. But let's do some introductions real quick. We've got Uptown Chrissy Brown is in, and there's Luigi 2.0. That is Kevin's son, Kyle. There's Mr. Jim Rhodes in the house. Mr. Dave from Double Hook Angling. Again, appreciate everything you've done for me, Dave. All the stuff, and definitely is going to be doing some tying this week. Definitely been busy. Haven't got to it yet, but it is still sitting right here in front of me. Got Mr. LG Bass, Mr. Tom. We've got the Bud Files. What's going on, the Bud Files? Appreciate you coming in here. Got 12 wonderful people in the house. Appreciate everybody coming in here. What is going on, Avid? Appreciate you, Avid, coming in here and hanging out. But let me do this. I'll do a little intro to who we are supposedly. Let's see. It's not which one I wanted. Okay, let's do this. All right. So this is who we're supposed to have up today as our guest. Is Chaos Divers. If y'all have not seen them, they are a group of professional divers, certified divers. They do. Oh, here they are. Pop out of here. There he is.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, sir?
Not much. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
Just got home. I mean, pulled the truck in the driveway from the trip, for the RV.
No problem at all. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us tonight and talking with us.
Lindsay's going to be coming up shortly.
That's cool. Yep.
So, how's everybody doing?
Oh, they are good. We've got 12 wonderful people in the house already.
Let me shout out the. You have your phone on you? Shout the channel.
Here, let me move you all. I'm gonna move you all big screener. You're front and center. You're the guest.
No, I don't know about all that.
You're more important than I am.
The live stream. I don't have. You have a link to the live stream?
Yes. Let me just text it to you on that one I just texted to you.
That's on my phone. I'd have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. I'll have to.
You can send it to mine.
Or you.
It's just what's the.
It's the block
Copy.
experience.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Find it.
All right. We'll get that shared out real quick.
Okay.
All right. So what we got going on?
Not much. So just give us a little bit of a background on to who you all are, the purpose behind your all's channel. So that way you all can, that way a lot of people, I know a lot of people have watched you all and know kind of a little bit about you all, but don't really know how you all got started.
So we're Chaos Divers. We are a search and recovery dive group. At first, I was a fishing channel. That's how I know you guys and a lot of the cat fishermen and the bass fishermen around. When my channel got hacked, Chaos Paddlers kind of just went away. I was a kayak fisherman, and then I decided to become a scuba diver. From there, I was going to do all the treasure hunting and getting all the cell phones and iPhones out of the Apple Watches out of
water.
the
Don't forget the
lakes.
catfishing rods and all that stuff that people lost off the boats.
Rods, exactly. Doing all that, it took a turn. I helped a friend of mine out with recording and helping with the diving. Team Waters had a vehicle in the water in Missouri, the St. Louis area, just a little north of St. Louis. That it was Nathan Ashby's truck. They contacted Jared and said, "Hey, we have a truck in the water. We think this has to do with a missing person." And we came up there and we actually brought Nathan Ashby home. From there, we got to talking with the family, and I decided this is something I want to do full time. So we started asking Team Waters. They took me underneath their wing and got me all the sonar equipment that I needed. Just asking questions about the sonars, and they told us exactly what we needed. So we got it all going, and from there, we brought 17 people home.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a crazy 3.
And a lot of people that will watch this back, and it's not for the money, it's not for all that stuff. You're doing something you feel passionate about to give families that closure, and that's really what it's about.
With us documenting everything on YouTube and Facebook, it's an avenue to where we can actually do this free for the families and law enforcement. So with all of our views and the shares, it's actually enough to where we can go and still pay our bills and go out and help these families.
Yeah,
and it's been
because you're not asking anything from the police officers. You're not asking anything from the families. It's YouTube, it's Facebook, that's what is how your means. And that's what a lot of people don't understand is that you're not asking for handouts from the families. You're not asking the police department for anything, or the counties or the cities for anything. You're just basically saying, "Hey, we'll do this free of charge for you all to help you find that closure and to close this case on this one."
Absolutely. So this is Lindsay. She's been my manager for the past 2.5 years, almost 3. And she's been a rock. She's been the rock of Chaos Divers. And then now she's became a diver herself.
Yes.
So she's been recovering. She just recovered a truck last week. It was a flawless recovery. And I'm not going to sit here and tell her that I taught her well, but I was I taught her a little bit, but she's she's
like a little.
See some people in here.
Oh yeah, we got 16. We've got 16 total because we're live on both channels. So you're actually watching off of my channel, but we have 16 total between the two channels. Because you've been in contact with Kevin.
I was going to say,
Anglers. Do what?
Where's Kevin?
That I don't know. His son mentioned something about he's either at the hospital, either he's in it with him or he's there with his mom. So I don't know. Nobody's answering. I've tried to contact him. I tried to contact his wife, but nobody's answering. So I don't know the stint of that yet. So hopefully by the end of this, we'll know something's going on.
Man,
so
it's
definitely need prayers for that part of the family, definitely, because
Ryder Dives in here. He's the other. He's my second diver originally, and he's still my second diver. She's not my third, but she's like the second diver when he's not there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Biggest question is a lot of people, and that's one thing, because we do cover a lot of the fishing aspects on our channel, and a lot of the questions I know a lot of people's going to have is the equipment you use, because we use the same things when we're fishing. We use the sonars, we use the side scans and things like that. So when you're using that to find the vehicles and things that you're all finding, and the structures, what we call structures of trees and things like that, so kind of go through what you look through when you're looking at like the sonars and stuff like that. What are you specifically looking at when you're going through? Are you looking just for anomalies, or are you getting that real picture of that vehicle? Like I've seen some of your sonars that really show that vehicle specifically sitting there.
When you guys are doing your fishing, you guys have your set to where you're seeing the fish, you're seeing everything.
Yeah.
With us, I try to take away all the fish. There's sometimes the flying carp, the carp are just horrendous.
Yeah, Asian carp.
You can't ever get rid of them. They just look like dark. I'll tell you right now that when I was with somebody who actually fishes and uses the sonar to fish, they were like, "Oh, there's a bed of fish right there. There's a bunch of fish right here." I'm like, "What?" I don't know how to find fish on the dadgum thing. I really don't. I mean, I do, but the big ones. But like the school of bass or fish, I can't determine what they are. I just know that there's fish there. Mm-hmm. So with that, we've taken pretty much everything out. We look specifically for anomalies, like you said, that has raised up, kind of look like a car. There's some in there, like just last 2 days ago, I found, or was it yesterday? I found a car that I'm like, I think that's a car. And then we had to go back over it 6 different times before I said, yes, it was a car. So she could tell you more about the sonar. She's a little bit better of a speaker than I am too. So,
I think it depends on the conditions in which we're working, how long the vehicle's been in there. When you hit that like 3 to 10 year mark on a vehicle, it's down to the point where I can tell you what kind of vehicle it is before we even dive on it most of the time. The truck that I just pulled out, before we even dove on it, said, Britt, I'm going to say it's probably a newer Ford. Sure enough, we dove down on it. It was probably a 2010 Ford F-150. There's another one that we located. We just recovered James Jackson. His vehicle 100% looked like a Ford Transit van. A vehicle that's been in the water like less than a year, it's going to look like a log. It's going to look like a blur. It's going to look like a brush pile. Vehicles that have been longer, 10 years or longer, depending on the environment. Yeah. Sometimes that's when you'll get kind of that, okay, there's something there. There's some kind of raised structure, because it's so silted in that you won't always, you're kind of just looking for that elongated shape.
Yeah. Okay.
So it depends on environment, length of time, that sort of thing.
Because current changes a lot. Because we know that current changes a lot. It moves stuff around, so it will move the settlement around to where it'll look like it's just like a drop off to some of us, but to you all, it could be a vehicle. We're just like, oh, it's just a drop off. It drops off to a deep hole. Well, no, really, it could be that front end of a vehicle just dropped off right there and stopped.
There's also so with Team Waters working with us, they have a list. They have a 3-page list that you go through, and you can get the settings specifically for search and recovery. So as you guys are presetting yours from the factory, we have a list that we have to go through and select different settings that will make those cars pretty much appear than just factory settings. So, I mean, it takes you about 30 minutes or so to program it. Yeah. But from there, it's like, if you got that program, you're pretty well set. So,
gotcha. Because that's a lot of things. Is like when we're using that, like the side scans and even like, are you all using live scope too?
We do have
live scope. Okay. How is that now changed your game on doing your recoveries and stuff? How's that? Because before we didn't have that. Just using the side scans and the sonars. Now you can really use that live scope, and it's really showing you that real clear picture now.
There's sometimes where we don't see the car on sonar, or we see a blur, and we're able to take that with a sniper marine pole and turn it to where we can actually see the side of the car.
Yeah.
Because they're so new.
Yeah.
Times she wants to go to old school and throw the magnet behind us after we pass it.
It has changed the game in the sense that, like, it does help us get a better view, get a better 360 view, of what we're actually looking at instead of, these straight passes where we're getting still photos. It also allows us to mark the cars easier.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we don't have communications yet. So it also gives us the ability to watch the diver as the diver's on the vehicle. So that way, if I get entangled or Jacob gets entangled or Eric or whoever's diving with us, if somebody gets in any kind of trouble, we can see all of that. So for us, it's a lot more reliable in knowing the surroundings of the vehicle, but it's also a safety measure for us.
You can literally tell if I am struggling down there, if I'm really trying to pull something off like a bumper or something, you can actually watch my bubbles on the live scope, and you can tell that I'm either distressed or mad.
Yeah. Buddy of mine, Hubcap Point Outdoors wants to know what kind of graphs are you all using on those? What is the graph types that you're using?
So with the one that I use that's in front of me, it's actually an older one. It's a Humminbird Generation 2 Helix.
Helix, okay.
The one she's using, she can...
I have the Humminbird Apex 13 and then the Garmin Live Scope in front of me.
Is it 34 LS?
Yeah. The 3460 or 3412, I think is what it is. It's the new one with the Active Plus. And then on my Apex, I only have side scan and down scan, or side scan and down scan. Like those two screens are up all the time on that.
Okay.
Depending on, depths will change things depending on on the water, the turbidity, what kind of water are we in? We'll adjust things on the fly, but the Garmin Live Scope we use it strictly for live scope purposes. And then the Humminbird, we use it strictly for side scan, down scan.
Now here's a good question. And it goes along with using your sonar and your side scan and even going into doing the live scope. What does it take to be able to dive in a dark, murky water like the rivers and deep river lakes? So if you're in, it's like pure muddy water, murky, visibility is pretty much nothing. So are you all relying more on your electronics then or what?
That's mostly what we dive on. Just imagine putting your hand over your head or over your eyes and just feeling. I mean, that's pretty much our eyes are our hands, reading by Braille, and just depends on like what type of vehicle it is. You can pretty much determine if it's a truck or car. But yes, relying on the sonars to get that initial, hey, is there anything surrounding it? Is there any kind of obstacles we have to mess with? How's the current, stuff like that. But mainly when you go down there, you're just feeling by rails. So.
And there's depths of history. You all just did a little thing with them. I remember seeing.
Yeah. So Depths of History has been with us for the past 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
So with our sonar, as she was talking about trying to adjust it, if you'll get your water column black, and you're pretty much, that's where you need it. I mean, if the water column is black and not has a whole bunch of impurities, that's pretty much where you want your settings at on your sonar.
Absolutely. Looking to see if anybody else has any questions. Stilliner says, how many uses of the wetsuit can you get before it stinks?
One.
One.
Like my wetsuit right now. But that's because I just pulled the truck out. So I'm in the water with the gas and the oil. And, there's all of, just where we were in the Ohio River. So the visibility was good, but, there's just a lot of marine life. There's a lot of mud and muck, silt, sediment, that sulfurish kind of mud that was surrounding the truck. So that's all over my wetsuit. So basically, I mean, there's times where I'm going to be honest, I don't wash it. You dip it in Odoban, you rinse it out really good. And if it really needs a really, really good washing, then we'll take it to the car wash and we power wash them.
Gotcha. I just want to say something, but question here is, we deal a lot with thermoclines, especially when we're fishing, which is the lower part of the water that has no oxygen, nothing, no life, nothing. So what are your all thoughts on that doing your kind of job? Does that help you any because there is nothing down there? There's no oxygen, no any life at all?
Well, with going 70 plus feet, that's where you get your no life. But generally around the thermoclines, sometimes they vary just depending on the water clarity. Sometimes we'll go down 20 feet and then all of a sudden we'll hit the thermocline and then it'll clear up. Sometimes it's used to our advantage. Most of the time it's like, shoot, it's daggone cold.
Yeah. I was going to say, what is the temperature difference? Because when you're going from the top of the water through that thermocline, is it like a drastic change or what?
20 degrees or so.
Yeah.
It's a drastic change. When you hit it.
Okay.
With our equipment, I've got a 5 mil. She's got a 5 mil. I think you got a 5 mil, don't you? We can't really feel it on our bodies unless we full suits, but our faces, because our face isn't full face, or our hands if we don't have gloves on. You can feel where it's at. If you skid over 90-degree water, just basically in your shorts and just your BCD, you will not. Some people can, and I probably could, but once you hit that thermocline, you're done. It's so cold, it's just we got to come up. If you're not equipped with your suit.
I was going to ask, does that really speed up if you hit that thermocline? Does it really speed up the process for you all to get down, do what you need to do, and get back up to be able to acclimate back again, so you go back down?
If you're in your wetsuit, no. If you're in just shorts and a BCD, absolutely. You want to. Generally, they don't go down there. If you got a thermocline and that 20-degree difference, you will start breathing really heavily. You'll use a lot of your air. You'll be uncomfortable, and sometimes it's just unruling. So you'll come back up. And it's like, hey, it's too cold. I need my wetsuit.
Let's see. Is the sonar that you all use, is it wide beam or what kind of focus are you all using on it?
Mega. Depending on if we're in the Ohio River, if it's not up north like we were in Pennsylvania and Ohio area.
Mhm.
If it's down south, like where we're at in Illinois, it's really murky, really dirty. So if you use your Mega Live or your Mega transducer, you're going to get a lot more impurities. If you go down to 4, was it 4?
I have I put mine to 800 when there's like if we're in the Missouri or the Ohio down here, I put mine down to 800 kilohertz instead of the Mega.
Just think about it as throwing a whole bunch of needles down at your 1 point, whatever it is, the Mega. Instead of it all hitting the object down at the bottom, it's hitting all the impurities. So it's giving you a lot of feedback. And if you just send a small amount of sonar, of needles down there, sound waves, you'll bring back up and it'll make you a better view. We also have on the newer system water column sensitivity. If you guys haven't updated your sonars, I suggest it, because that water column sensitivity for the past year is, you put it to -1 and you can still use your Mega. It's kind of weird how that works. I'm not really familiar with it, but I do know that it's been amazing for us.
I got a friend of mine. This is Dave from Dave All Over. He says he thinks what you all do is super cool. He appreciates what you all do, definitely.
Well, thank
And
you.
we all do, and we all do. I mean, it's I enjoy watching it. It gives me a peace of mind that somebody out there does what you all do, and just, I mean, if I had something like that, somebody like that that's missing, I mean, I would first thing I'd reach out to you all and say, hey, I need your all's help in a heartbeat.
Well, there's a lot of times where Kevin and there's several other guy from Kansas.
Oh, Sonny,
he'll tell me what's on the sonar. Like, he knows the sonar. Yeah, that's just a rock. Yeah, I know.
He told us 4 stuff too.
Yeah, he's actually found a vehicle in the I can't remember what lake that was, but it was in Kansas.
Yeah. We've had fishermen reach out and say, hey, I know there's a vehicle here. You know, and if we're able, or when we're able to, we'll go check it out, go clear it. Just because
what if I told you there's a whole entire town underwater right now?
Yeah.
Would you all want to go dive on it?
I mean, it'd be cool. It's neat to see that.
Yeah, so we hear some things like, you know, people will be like, well, this is a flooded city underneath here. Well, usually it's not. So you try to find the local fishermen who actually fish there.
We literally have our town, Burnside, Kentucky. It literally is underwater at Lake Cumberland. They literally flooded the lake, and it's underwater.
Oh, wow.
I pulled out the Toyota from Back to the Future out of the Lake Cumberland.
Oh yeah, I remember somebody saying something about a DeLorean being pulled out of the water. There ain't no telling how many vehicles honestly are in Lake Cumberland. Honestly, that really doesn't.
We pulled out that Toyota
pickup truck,
Tacoma or something like that, wasn't it?
I wasn't there.
I don't remember. Anyway, it's from Back to the Future. That was 40 foot deep, and I'll tell you what, Lake Cumberland is pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful to dive. So yeah, if I could find a city, that would make a pretty awesome video, and just to dive it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we're pretty much I can almost point you where, because there's a tunnel that goes through the hill, and that's pretty much the road into the town that's underwater. So if you know where that tunnel's at, the town's right there underwater.
Oh wow!
And that area that I know of, that area is like 100 and something feet, like 130. The deepest part I know is like 130, 140 something feet deep in certain spots there.
Wow.
So with recreational diving, 130 feet would be our max. Depending on our nitrox level, like the mixture of oxygen, at like 5 minutes down there. Not even. Before our nitrogen levels are too high and we have to come back up.
The winter would be your best part, is where they dropped here. The winter, like I think starting October through like February, they drop the lake down, and they drop it drastically, like 60 feet.
I was going to say that's the time.
Because they do what they call as a winter. They call it a winter pooling, because where they're working on the dams and stuff like that. So they'll drop the water down to where they can work on all that stuff. And it's like a lot of because we don't have any beaches around or like anywhere to bank fish. So winter for here is perfect if you're going to bank fish, because you've got probably 60 feet of bank shore now.
Wow.
Almost everywhere now, because they've dropped the water.
We'll definitely have to keep in touch, and we'll have to go to that area because be pretty.
I'm like 5 minutes from that spot, so
there is actually a couple cases down there. A gentleman went missing in his, I think it was a Ford Ranger or a Ford 100. I can't remember the
younger gentleman, like a teenager.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
They still haven't found him.
I mean, obviously we can go down there and work case, and you could show us around places.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Like that. So.
Let's see. Here we go. What kind of inflatable do you all have to fill up? I'm guessing to where you all are hooking up to the vehicles to kind of like float them up off the ground. I'm thinking that's what he's calling.
So we have bags. We have 1,300 and 3,000 pound lift bags. They're just pretty much canvas, and they've got some check valves on it to where we hook up our air. Either we can put an air compressor on it with a fitting, or we can put
your air tank on them.
Air tank, not on our back, but
a separate one.
And fill them up, or we can run a line all the way up to the top and do the same thing. That's the safer way to do it.
Absolutely. Let's see.
Hubcap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What does it take for a redneck cat fisherman to be able to scuba? I was in the fire department and I could scuba. There you go. Well, you already started.
The SCBAs are the tanks that the fire department wears, and they wear the full face mask. If you can handle that, and if you were a firefighter, if you could swim, you have to swim like 400 yards. Is it 400 yards?
Meters, I think.
400 meters, 400 yards, somewhere around there. I don't remember. But and float for 10 minutes, you're golden. So I mean, that's pretty much
breathe underwater.
Yeah, I'm breathing underwater, but he can. Well, sometimes people freak out whenever they're underwater because you're obviously not supposed to breathe underwater. But if you'll really, and it's basically that's pretty much it. That and it is costly to start out. It's around $4,000 to start out. And that's getting all your equipment that you need.
Yeah. So. All right, let's see.
Swim down and poke. I mean, I probably could do that. We have seen some massive catfish in the vehicles, like massive. Like whenever they come out and their head is as big, 2 times bigger.
I mean, I've seen videos where they actually will submerge a vehicle for that reason, to have fish to live in them.
We've found quite a few vehicles that have been stripped down, which typically you can see on the sonar when the vehicle has no hood, no motor, no anything. Mm-hmm. You can pretty much tell that is there for fish habitat. And then there's some that you come across that they didn't strip it down or anything, but they're like, oh yeah, we know that's there. It's a fish habitat. So, but usually when you find one and it's completely stripped down, it's pretty easy to see on sonar, and you know that's what it's there for.
One question I was remembering earlier is when you was talking about the wetsuit stinking of the gas and the oil and stuff like that. Now, have you all had anybody come back at you, environmental people come back because you're removing the vehicles and it's leaking? you're moving the vehicle, now it's leaking the gas, it's leaking the oils and stuff like that. Have you all had any backlash from people like that?
Almost every time we do, especially because we show the aerial footage, so you see a lot of the stuff coming down. What we do try to like convey to people is that a lot of times, in the grand scheme of things, like in the Ohio River and the truck we just pulled out, the amount of oil and gasoline that leaked from that truck is incredibly minute.
Compared to what's already in the Ohio River.
Yeah, and compared to just the Ohio River and its water flow already, it's going to dissipate so quickly that within hours it's gone. So we do try to convey that to people, but we do have probably almost every video that we put out where there's a vehicle pull is, that we should have like the mats or something to clean it up. But it also isn't necessarily financially feasible for us to have all that, spatially feasible to have all of that on hand with us. So the biggest thing we can do is, even with it, leaking some chemicals, is still to remove it.
I've been reading some of the comments down there. But back to what she was talking about on the fuel. The fuel especially will dissipate in less than 30 minutes. We've never really, knock on wood, had an oil spill. Like you could tell the difference between the oil and the gas.
Because in most vehicles, you're looking at 8 quarts of oil, maybe at the most, and 36 gallons of. I think most 36, 38 gallons of fuel. So really, in a water that's, I couldn't tell you how many gallons of water it's in the Ohio River, but I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing compared, but it's also that vehicle is never going to be. We're still cleaning up the environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the VW bug catfish story.
Yeah, I know everybody's going to get that story, but you all would be good to answer that question.
I've never seen one that big.
We've, at every dam or major river that we go to, we either hear that there are catfish bigger than a school bus, catfish bigger than a Volkswagen bus or a Volkswagen bug, or catfish big enough to swallow a manhole. We've also heard that back in the 80s or 90s, there were divers working on this bridge.
Yeah. Every time.
I've heard that down here a lot.
Yeah, there were catfish so big, the divers came up and refused to ever go back down again.
Yeah.
So scared.
Are there catfish bigger than me down there? Yes, I've seen them swim next to them. They really want nothing to do with you other than they're curious. Like, what are all these bubbles coming from?
Yeah. Is it food? Is it food? But no.
Right.
It's bigger than me. No, I'm not going to eat it.
So that's something we hear. That's something we hear everywhere we go. With diving, like, for the most part, like in the northern part of the U.S., there's not too much. I mean, like, you always have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to know what's in the water with you. But for the most part, most of those fish want nothing to do with you. The only thing that scares me diving is snapping turtles. That's the only thing.
I was going to say there are snapping turtles bigger than me, and that's a big turtle.
Or swimming in or diving in an area that could possibly have gators.
We've done that.
I was gonna say you probably have been in areas, definitely.
So when we got Lamar Green out of the water, when we recovered him, she told me to get in the boat really quick, and I'm like, "Why? I'm fine." She could get in the boat now, because she had seen an alligator go into the water that was bigger than me. But I did see a little bitty guy about that big swimming by me.
Again, gators are the same thing. Like, unless you are, unless it's like mating season, or you're disturbing, their nesting area.
Yeah.
Most part, like, they don't want anything to do with you either. I mean, you just got to be like, just be calm down there. I mean, it's a strange thing to say when you could possibly go down a line and be looking at an alligator, but you just have to remain calm. Like, for the most part, like, they'll just scurry off. Most of the fish, most of the marine life, they really want nothing to do with you. The bass, the crappie, the bluegill, they actually are more irritating than any of the big fish, because they come and they want to go around your mask, and they want to, I got bit by a bass on the leg. Like, I've been injured more by bass than any other fish.
Oh yeah, because they're always curious, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just, but again, you just got to be, aware of your surroundings, what's in the water with you, and just be cautious, but at the same time, remain calm and go down. You get your job done, you get out.
Yeah. Going along with the question we was talking about, have you all encountered that where certain states have or areas have laws against disturbing areas?
We have not
Okay.
crossed any issues of against the law to disturb the bottom. We have had territorial issues with the law enforcement being like, this is Kentucky's side and you're in Indiana. Kentucky, you'll have to ask permission for it.
Yeah.
She could tell you more on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of like jurisdictional. If you are in Evansville, Indiana, and you go into the water, you're still in Indiana for so many feet. But if you walk in to the water, to the Ohio River, if you walk in it and you're touching the ground at any point in time, you're actually in Kentucky. So then it becomes well, whose car is this? Same thing, Ohio, West Virginia. We were just there. West Virginia actually owns a majority of the river. So when we find a car and we came in off the Ohio side, we contact Ohio because that's who our point of contact is. And then they run the plates, they run the VIN, whatever they need to do. But then it's up to what county in West Virginia are we by? And it would actually be their call if they'll let pull a vehicle out of the Ohio side.
And with fishing wise, that's different because of our license that we have. It's like Kentucky, we're allowed to fish anywhere on the Ohio except for any river or creek that comes off of the Ohio into the Ohio River into Ohio. We have to stay in the main river channel, river area.
Yeah.
Same as Ohio and Indiana and all them, they're the same way.
Yes, with Golconda Marina, when we were fishing our bass tournaments, I never would get a Kentucky license. But Dad said, hey, we're going into duck blind, and we're going inside the creek, so you'll need your Kentucky license. I'm like, gosh, dang it. So, there was another one here. Will you ever dive saltwater? I have dove. Yeah, I did that before. I have dove saltwater 3 or 4 times. Up in the upper in Washington area, the Puget Sound. There has been sightings of great whites, but there's not a large abundance of sharks up there, so I was okay with it. I'm not too fond of sharks. I watch Jaws too much. She wants to dive with a shark. She can go right ahead.
I actually have swam in the water where they filmed Jaws. So
I'd be okay.
Yep. Nope. Up in Martha's Vineyard, the little bridge where supposedly he goes in underneath the bridge and into the little bay area. Yeah. I went up there to visit and I actually jumped off the bridge into the water there. So.
That'd be awesome. I'd be okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. We've actually got depths of history, and why don't you come over here? Okay. Is that all right?
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Hey, more the merrier. I mean, it's really all part of your all's team. I mean, we're all one big team. I mean, even though you're all, so he's part of his team and stuff like that, different his channel and stuff. Yep.
We got Colston. He's a camera and been amazing help this past 2.5 weeks.
And didn't he just get his certification to dive with you all?
He tried
or trained.
Yeah, he and my brother did try scuba at the same time. So it's basically you get all geared up, they take you down, you see if you like it. It's like a quick course how to do it, just to get you under and see if it's something you want to pursue. So if there's anybody who thinks they might want to try scuba diving, even if it's not to do what we do, even if it's just to, fun dive and go to like beautiful places, like see if your local area has something like that, because it's the best way to really find out, do you like doing it? Can you do it? Swimming and diving are completely different things. And there's a lot of people who I've met who tried scuba diving and it wasn't for them, but they still love to swim and snorkel and all of that. So if that's something that's around you, try it.
Usually scuba diving is such a relaxing sport until you put what we do in the mix of it. Sometimes you're fighting for your life down there because the current is so strong. You're holding on to a rope. I mean, it could get intense. But then again, it's still so tranquil on diving or in a lake. Like you're just slowly. Sometimes it's even spooky. Sometimes you're slowly looking, because unless you're actually looking for this certain vehicle and you can tell on the sonar what it is, it's a guessing game if there's anybody in there. So you're just kind of looking around. You're making sure everything is kosher, and sometimes they'll startle you. And that's a beautiful thing that we're doing, and that's what we do. So you're expecting that, but it's still kind of gets you.
Yeah, it does every now and then.
So he even.
So what's your thoughts there, Colston?
Not to get too much into detail, but
he likes the shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I like the shirt. But what's your thoughts on what you've been doing so far?
Tell you.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, what we've been doing has been absolutely great. Just coming out here, with these guys and being able to experience, what they go through on a daily basis is really cool to see the whole process from waking up in the morning to get the boat in the water, to actually getting out there and searching, and what we find. It's really cool. You never really know what you're gonna find. Yesterday we were out there, I think, for probably 2 hours, couldn't find anything, and then all of a sudden there was 3 or 4 cars stacked up on top of each other. So it's kind of crazy because you never really know what's going on. But as far as the scuba diving, it was a lot of fun, and I would tell anybody to go out and do it. By any means, I did, I'd say I was even scared of underwater. So going out there and being able to actually see how it is, and what he said, it's so peaceful. Control your breathing, so it really is a fun sport.
With having Britton with us, he dove on the vehicle we were looking for, which was a transit, was it Ford Transit van, and he had James Jackson in there. He could tell you a little bit about his experience on diving it.
So I suited up to dive the vehicle. We were 85% sure that this was the vehicle that we were looking for, only because the downscan imaging showed us incredible detail to the point where it was undeniably true that it was the transit van that we were looking for. So I suited up to dive. I got into the water. The water was really warm. It was like 82 degrees. It was pretty warm. I dove down onto the car, noticed it was a white car. Most of the windows were down. So I came across the driver's side, noticed that someone was seatbelted in the front seat, made my way to the front of the car, and then I was able to get the license plate, and that was confirmation.
So that was our latest solve, and then we went to West Virginia for a week searching for Karen Adams, and we've searched over 40 miles of the river.
Yeah. This trip.
How many vehicles did we find this trip?
I don't remember. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10.
Yeah, so 10 vehicles in the Ohio River from even the place that we started. That's not including the 71 that's above that. That was in the river. So the river is completely polluted with vehicles all over the place, from insurance frauds to accidents to, theft, stuff like that. So
I would say probably majority of your cars in there are probably mostly theft.
theft and insurance frauds are top.
Yeah.
And generally, you won't know it's an insurance fraud because it was stolen.
Yeah.
With a brick and a USB cable to hold the steering wheel straight. Oh, did I say that? and big screen TVs and some other household stuff that was in that vehicle that I found. I said, "There's a dadgum big screen in the back." So, but other than that, any other
they're all
questions?
talking about sharks right now.
Oh.
Angry bull sharks and stuff down in Louisiana.
Puppies bite too, okay, and they hurt.
Yes.
Somebody said something. They're just puppy dogs of
Yeah,
the
they're
ocean.
just puppy dogs. Yep.
Yeah, that's the same thing with alligators. Those little sharp puppy teeth hurt.
Yeah.
There's Lori Smock.
There's been a bunch of people
Yep.
in here for you.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys coming in and supporting these guys because these guys are where I started with fishing. They got a great channel, good people, good solid people. So definitely check them out.
Absolutely. What's your all's future? What's the future looking for you all?
We're going to continue to do this until I can't do it till they. I mean, I don't know about them, but we're going to do this until we can't do it anymore. This is our full-time job. Same as Britton here. He's, it's Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
This is what we do full time. So we're on the water 200 days out of the year.
I can tell you.
I was saying you just dropped a video this morning on the new motor.
I did. That electric motor is pretty neat. I was very impressed with it. We've used it quite often. The only issue that I have is I need to get the mount that brings it completely out of the water because I can't use the big motor to take off because it hangs in the water. So I just take
that rooster tail.
Yeah, it'll rooster tail and it sends. Well, one time it almost came off. And that's $8,000 going to the bottom of the river. I didn't want that.
Jeff said, "Hopefully, 10 million subs." That's the future.
Jeff is my main moderator. He's a great friend and huge supporter. Jeff's been there since the beginning, so he's been awesome. Yeah, hopefully 10 million subs. That'd be awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know what I would do with 10 million subs.
Right? Retire. Retire.
Oh. But yeah, we're passionate about what we do. Since I picked up Lindsay, she was I don't remember what you were.
So when I met Jacob, I was the executive director for a chamber of commerce where I live. And then shortly after meeting him, I lost my job due to COVID. In tears as he's helping me pack my office up, we went outside and I was like, well, I'm all yours if you want me. And that's when I went, with Jacob full time. So I've been with Jacob full time for, I've known him for a little over 2.5 years, but I've been with him full time been working for him full time for 2 years.
Somebody was asking about the mangled car.
So in your experience, how much current would it take to roll a vehicle across a river bottom and mangle it up? Is that possible?
If it's initially in there and it's still on its descent, quite a bit of current to push it. Like if we had a real bad storm and it was floating, it could float for 4 miles. But as soon as it hits the bottom, there ain't a strong enough current that's going to push that car any further unless something in front of it hits it with a force, and then it can go. But
it's almost like it suction that the silt on the bottom or whatever. It just almost like a suction to it. Yeah.
Once it settles, that's pretty much where it stays. It's more likely that the barges and the dredgers will actually rip off the top of the car than the car will be moved or pushed once it settles down. We've found several vehicles where the top is missing, but you can tell that's where that car has been settled at, you know. So more often,
How far have, like, if you, I'd say a lot of the vehicles you pretty much have a idea where they went in. What's the farthest you've seen one from where it supposedly initially went in to where you found it?
Us physically, probably
mile or
Mike's
so?
mile and a half.
About a mile to a mile and a half.
We've seen them where they think the entry point, and it was almost 4 miles. But that was not our experience. So about a mile.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to crawl on the river bottom to reach a vehicle? I've had to hold on to sticks, branches, rocks. He's had to do the same thing just to keep us from going back in the current. Usually the ropes, if we have a strong current, will latch onto the car with like a grappling hook, and then you can actually pull yourself up to it. Or we'll float up, and then we'll tie the line, and then we'll float to the vehicle.
Keith with Fishing and Stuff, our DIY guru, he says, "Can you send me some good catfishing spots? I know you all know where they hang out."
I know a good spot on the Ohio River up there in West Virginia. There's 4 vehicles there, and I'm guaranteeing you there's 2 or 3 big catfish in there. The ones that are lined up that Eric dove.
Well, the ones yesterday, Britt said there was a huge catfish down there.
Oh yeah, there was. It was massive.
So to your guess, how big do you think it was? Because we've seen some big ones come out of the Ohio.
I would say like its head was as big as a football, and then its body was probably, say, like maybe 3-4 feet long.
So you're probably looking at about 100-pound catfish,
Yeah.
80-pound catfish.
There was one when Britt and I dove on the boat first that went past me, and it had to have been almost as. So I'm 5'8", and it wasn't. I don't think it was too much smaller than I was.
We have a catfish at the quarry that's 160 pounds, and his name is Charlie. And Charlie has a gut. I mean, he's just, all he does is eat hot dogs every single day. Full hot dogs, not cut up ones. You'll show him a hot dog, he'll take it right out of your hand. He's about 160 pounds. And that thing, so I can't see. I think that's the biggest catfish I've ever seen underwater to this date, other than our big paddlefish.
Yeah,
they get big.
Huge.
Yeah.
You got any other questions?
He said that Creo was talking about the question he's asking. He said he's seen some really mangled up objects before in the deep water, so it could be just junk people dumped off because it was mangled up pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's sometimes where you can see a whole bunch of mangled up stuff, but you can make out like a tire or something and drive on it. And if that's the case and it's a vehicle we're looking for, we can literally tie ropes to each corner and we can lift them up with bags and kind of preserve the vehicle. We've had to do that for one of our recoveries. It was so mangled up that we couldn't even get him out of the car. So it was Bill Simmons. So,
and you might know this one. How would you guys find an undercut in a river? So talking about where basically your water goes down, it cut up underneath something, like underneath rock levees and things like that. How would you all find that?
So for us, like there's times where a vehicle's on a ridge, right? And you can go over it this way, and you're not going to see it. It's basically just making that outside pass. So, ride your shoreline, see what you see. If all of a sudden, your shoreline, you can see your shoreline, and then on the other side, it's just kind of black or drops off, like that's going to tell you there's a ridge there. There's something there that's drops way down. So that's when we would take a pass farther out to catch, coming to the inside. And then you're going to get a better idea, rocks, holes, that kind of thing. So that's essentially what we look for, is that why did this screen just drop off over here?
Mm-hmm.
For us, that's indicative of, of a ledge or something, or a ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we would take that farther outside pass to catch it on the inside.
To go along with what she said, and I've showed him this, each direction is going to give you a different shadow.
Mm-hmm.
I physically passed over a car, and then I went back. I'm like, oh, there's no cars there. I came back 6 months later, and I drove on that outside edge, and that's when I found that car. So, like, every angle when you're going at a boat ramp, regardless if you go straight in on the boat ramp, you want to go sideways on the boat ramp, you want to go diagonal on the boat ramp, each which way, you could have a huge hill, and on the other side is a car, and you'll never see that car.
Mm-hmm.
Each direction you're going. Now, when you cross over like this, you may see something. What is that? So then you make another crossover, crisscross it. Just each different direction you go, you're going to get a different image. But that's how you can tell if it's a vehicle or not. He's got a 7-hour drive home, so. Any fins?
Yep. Just got off the water. He's been fishing. Any Finn's been fishing for a little while, so they just now got off the water. We got 34 wonderful people in here. Appreciate everybody that's been in here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and share it out. I know Avid and I think a few others have been sharing out Ural's link, Rider Dives, and also the other one, History one.
Depths of History.
Yeah, Depths of History. Yep, his Brit's channel.
First time I started working with you.
Avid?
Yeah.
So, with anybody that's in here, definitely thank you so much for sharing our channels. It means a lot. Anytime you're in the channel, hopefully I'll be able to shout you guys out and stuff like that. And, this community has been beautiful, especially with my fishing partners that I've had since I started. So I just want to say thank you on that. I want to know a question. I want to ask these guys a question. What is the biggest catfish that you all have caught? Like, what's your PB catfish and or bass?
Well, I can go ahead and do mine. Mine's 47-pound blue cat.
Wow.
Dang.
Yes. Yeah. And I actually, and if Kevin was here, he'd get mad at me because I've caught a bigger one than him. and the reason why he could get mad at me, because this is what I do to him, and I'll show you all. And Creo's got his on right now. He's showing his. He's got a 70-pound blue. Avid's got an 83-pound blue.
Wow.
They're on the Mississippi and down that area. So they're going to have bigger blues down that way.
I could have the 31 pound.
Yeah. Wow. So there's mine.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my blue. That's my 47-pound blue.
That is incredible.
Do you see how massive they are?
Yeah. That literally is. I'm almost 6 foot tall. I'm 5'10". That thing is as long as I am. It's tall.
That's crazy.
Its tail is bigger than my head.
61.
Literally, just the fan of its tail is bigger than me.
Buddy caught a 93-pound. Wow. So my little 8.5 pound bass is my PB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's Tom with LG Bass. Yeah. They have a famous doc, and you can watch their shows that they do either on Tom's channel, the LG Bass, or Catfish Regulators channel, and their buddy Art from the 1 Ton Fishing Club caught the 93-pound blue, which is now the record on the dock, and it's just a little dock down from Tom's house.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how to catfish. I do, but it's like I watch you guys catfishing off your boats, and there's 6 lines out there. That would be a mess. Every one of them tangled up.
Oh, that's 6 is not bad. I mean, here in Kentucky, it's no limit. So you've got some of the guys with like 14, 15, 16 lines out.
I can keep track of one.
My luck is some would hit at once, and then you're just holding them like this.
You should see some of them that bank fish. They'll line up the whole bank full. I mean, literally take up probably 100 yards just with their fishing rods.
I only know how to bank fish for catfish. I've never catfished off a boat, only off the bank.
See with you all, and that's the thing that we tried to get back with what you all do with electronics you all use. You all, the way you all hunt, or not really hunt, I can't really say that. For us, it's hunt. But for you, how you all discover the vehicles is how we discover log jams, eddies, and everything else that we can use to find the catfish. You're doing the exact same thing, except for you're looking for vehicles and not the fish.
Right.
So honestly, you all have a better understanding of the electronics and how to use it than most people just now getting the electronics and trying to use it. So you're already a step ahead. You already see that stuff. You see the log jams. You see the places that you can fish.
Becca, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Miss Becca. She's, yeah. She
There's a lot.
we do it back when I get divorced. Yep. Love it.
We do a lot of the same. Just, we turn stuff down where you guys turn stuff up. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Take care. We'll be good.
All right.
Thanks
All
for
right,
having us.
Britt, Colson.
Guys.
Hit you all later. We'll definitely be looking out for you all.
Yeah, for sure. See you guys.
We'll see you in a couple months.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you need over there?
No, we're good.
We got it all.
All right.
Is that pink tank out there mine or yours?
It's mine.
It's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't take it. I just wanted to make sure.
All right, brother. Be careful.
We will.
If you forget
Bye.
anything, I'll see you in a
Everybody's
month.
saying bye.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys, for all your help.
Love you guys.
Love you too, buddy.
Love you.
All right. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Hey.
Hour drive. So
Yeah, definitely get it on the road.
But yeah, there's a lot of similarities in what we do. Our sensitivity is turned down where your guys' is probably turned up because you want to see all of that stuff.
Yeah.
We take that out, which when Jacob was talking earlier about the water column, that's what's amazing about that water column sensitivity option is we can turn that all the way down, while still adjusting our sensitivity for the sonar. But that middle water column is still black and there's nothing in there and it's giving us that clear image. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice feature to have that, you can turn that down and then turn your sensitivity up and you're not getting all this extra feedback and just clutter in the way.
A lot of people talk about how clear we can get our images, and that's just basically through the settings. I mean, we always tell people that it's not saturation, but the
contrast.
The contrast, and just different things to adjust. And I always tell them the water column, make it as black as you can, and your shadows. If you have it on a tan, you don't want like it bursting out. You just kind of want it a little bit dull, and that'll give you your structure and your black shadows on the back. It's just like a lot of people know about the sonars of catfish, but those who don't, it's just like shining a flashlight at a 30-degree angle, straight down, like straight across. And then if you can get the shadows black, you're going to see whatever object's in front of you.
Mm-hmm. It's like Creo said, he turns his down just enough where he can't see the smaller fish, so it illuminates the bigger fish.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some shadows I've seen that I thought there was a daggum shark down there. I was in fresh water.
Well, there are sharks in fresh water.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do have some that come up, especially down there where Creo is down in Louisiana. Especially fishing in his area, you will have freshwater sharks come up in there.
I had a lot of spots where they said, "Oh, there's no alligators in there." Baloney. Cops that came in there said, "Well, I got a picture of this one," and they shows me 7 or 8 foot alligator. I'm like, I just dove that.
Mm-hmm.
Better if you don't know sometimes. For you.
Yeah. I'll turn mine down. No joke. Hats off to you. Rivers are no joke. there's a river that I will be reluctant to dive, and that's the Mississippi, because that's one of the fastest flowing. The Missouri kicks my butt all the time, but the Mississippi, I've watched full-size trees that are 100 years old get sucked under in a second. So unless it's in an area where I feel a little bit safe, I won't dive the Mississippi. So
yeah. Creo says sometimes it's better off not knowing what's down there. True.
For Jacob, yes.
River monsters is a true thing. I mean,
In other countries.
Nope.
You'll be fine, buddy.
There's some of those things in our rivers, I guarantee it.
I'm one of those, like, I Google, like, what's in the Ohio River? What's in the Mississippi River? As a diver, you should never Google.
Absolutely, yes. Google is not your friend.
But at the same time, like, again, like, I always make sure that you're aware of your environment. What kind of fish are in there? What kind of, that kind of thing. If there's, if we're in an area where there's a lot of like pike or muskie, with them tending to be a more aggressive fish, not necessarily like people aggressive, but they hear us splashing in the water because we just jumped in. They're coming to see what's going on. So just being safe, in that aspect, just knowing what's in there. It's just, being aware of your surroundings. And again, just staying calm, no matter how big the catfish is that you're looking at.
With what she was talking about with the pike and the muskies. Muskies, not so much but the pike, if you have something shiny, it's going to come after you. Like,
well, sometimes your tanks are shiny.
They don't care. They will come after you and smack you.
I take everything off. Like, I'm a girl, so I have jewelry. I take off my earrings. I take off, rings, bracelets, watch. Any jewelry that I have on, I take off. Even if there's not pike, the bluegill, the crappie, the bat, like everything, they just see that something's, shiny or sparkle. So, as a diver, I have to, like, I take everything off that I physically can. And again, it's just one of those safety things. Plus, I don't want something, taking jewelry off of me and then I don't ever get it back because I don't know where the heck that catfish just went or that bass just went. So it's just easier.
So there's only been one part of the Mississippi that I know of that's actually, I'm going to say, a little safer to dive, and that's up in Muscatine, Iowa. It's not too fast of a current. Obviously, it was during the wintertime when we were up there, but that's been the only time I've ever seen the Missouri kind of calm. Down where you guys are, the Creole is, I guarantee flying down there. What was really weird, we pulled out somebody, it was Stephanie Torres. When we pulled her out, there was a whole bunch of crabs on the ground. It was fresh water, and that was how we were 100 miles. It was in Waco. They were 150 miles from the ocean, and there was blue crabs coming out of the vehicle. It was crazy.
Gina near Fort Worth says, "What river was it that the fish were jumping in the boat?"
Kansas City
That was
River.
the Kansas River.
That's our nice Asian carp there.
We were on the Kansas side. It was right where the Kansas and the Missouri meet. It was right in there. However, because of that video,
This is gonna be
as wonderful as it was, I actually got invited to the redneck fishing tournament up in Bath, Illinois, in a couple weeks, to be like their special guest. At first,
queen carp.
Yeah, queen of the carp. So at first they wanted to donate the proceeds from the first heat to Chaos Divers. And then I found out that they raise money for different veteran organizations. And for me, you know, my husband's a veteran. I've got family members who are veterans. So for me, I was like, absolutely not. I'll come. I'll be your special guest. I'll promote whatever I can as part of, Chaos Divers. I'll participate in every event that I can participate in. Use my name however you need, but all of the money goes back into veterans organizations. So because of that video, because of the Asian cart video, I do get to do a really good thing. So I guess I'll take a carp to the face if I have to for good cause.
She'll have a helmet on.
I'm gonna say helmet, shield, pads. Might as well just dress up as a hind catcher for those guys. Have you a glove to catch them?
Somebody was asking about the paraglider video. So
Yeah.
I am super behind on my videos. I was going to start working on actually that one in about a week or so after we get her vehicle pool. And so the paraglider, Kenny Loudermilk, has not been found yet. I can't tell you if he'll ever be found, but in time, things will start making his paramotor more visible, because right now, unless he's way far down the river, right now it's not showing up on the sonar. So I mean, that's the Missouri River, super quick, and very dangerous to just go out and dive and try to find. We have to have a target to dive on. So yeah.
And it's usually most of the cases, like with you all, is you need to have that target, because of the currents and other situations.
If we don't have a target to dive on and we're just free diving, super dangerous. Run up onto a tree, couldn't see. Most of our dives are non-viz. Up there in Pennsylvania and in Ohio, or West Virginia and Ohio, man, you could see 10, 20 feet in front of you. It's beautiful diving.
Have y'all dived on any of the Great Lakes or anything like that yet?
Jacob dove Lake Superior.
It's gorgeous.
We were up in the UP last, was it fall, summer, spring, sometime last year. And Jacob has a friend up there who is also a diver, and I wasn't certified, so I didn't dive. But Jacob dove cold Lake Superior that never warms up in a wetsuit.
45-degree water, I think. It was initial shock for about a minute, but after that, I kind of got used to it. I calmed down, but it was nice and cold.
We do want to take the opportunity, if we get it, to dive Lake Michigan, dive Lake Superior. There's a lot of shipwrecks up in that area, so to be able to do that would be amazing. So it's a matter of time, when we have time. And it's hard sometimes when we're out on these trips to take a day for yourself, because you're like, well, these families don't get any reprieve from their loved one. So sometimes we have to kind of force ourselves to be like, nope, we are taking tomorrow off. We have to. Sometimes we kind of have to force ourselves to just
take time for yourself to get your minds right, and kind of make sure you're healthy.
Yeah. To say, even if it's just a day off, because we're like, okay, we need to do laundry, we need to go get some groceries, just mundane daily chores sometimes is what it takes to kind of just, kind of come back to center.
And with a lot of that on taking a day off, or sometimes even two, sometimes in my heart I feel guilty because, I want to be.
Family's been waiting years.
We want to be on the water all the time, but there's sometimes where it's just like, I gotta stop. We've got to, we're gonna drive ourselves nuts.
Yeah. So what is your for that taking that break? What is your go-to to try to get your mind reset, to get you back in focused? To not what do you all do to do that? Like what is your go-to thing?
The this time that we went, I mean, there wasn't really anything. We took a day off and went through Chicago after we found James Jackson. But like our longer trips, we had our fishing poles. So we just went fishing, relaxed.
We do a lot of night fishing.
Yeah.
By the time we get off the water and get back to where we're going, there's times where, just take the day off and, go to a zoo, go to the aquarium. We do escape rooms where, we're great at solving real life mysteries, but in those escape rooms,
they're a whole different ballgame.
We're as dumb as a box of rocks.
Still fun though.
But it's just,
some of them.
It's an hour, where you're focused on nothing else but, what's in that moment. So,
yeah.
It's just really any little thing. A lot of times when we're traveling, if we're going from one place to another place, especially in the Midwest, you've got all like the caves and the caverns that you can go visit. So, if we've got a 3-hour drive and there's a cavern that we can go visit in the middle of that drive, we'll stop there and do that. There's a lot of different, like, just little things that we'll do.
What's like a go-to show or movie that you can just sit at night and just relax and watch, trying to get your mind?
So Jacob is one of those, like, he'll sit there and watch YouTube videos and like shorts and all that stuff. I'm a seasoned binge watcher. So like when a show comes out, like I have to watch the whole entire thing before I can watch anything else.
So what are you watching right now?
911 Lone Star. Then moving on to Yellowstone. And, but it's really just anything kind of, just to kind of take your focus off of, and it's not that we don't, okay, this is what we have tomorrow. This is what we're searching tomorrow. I can probably tell you almost every case that we've worked, that we're going to work. I can tell you every place we've searched. A lot of people say, where do you keep track of all of this? Right here. I can tell you every pond, every lake, every creek, river, what mile marker river. I can tell you everything we've ever searched for every single case. So anything to kind of just push that stuff to the side.
Bucket list for you to dive on.
Yeah.
I want to dive with the sharks. So that's my bucket list. Jacob's would probably
in a cage or out actually swimming with them.
Actually swimming with them. Jacob.
He's like, nope.
Jacob's was. He's not diving with sharks.
My bucket list, and I thought I had a bucket list 3 days ago or 4 days ago. Do you have a picture of that cannon?
Maybe.
I swear to you, it was a cannon. And I thought I found a Civil War cannon, and I was going to dive on it.
Ooh.
But it wasn't.
It was not a cannon.
It wasn't. Then I finally got turned around, and I actually seen the I don't know how that's going to show. But you see...
right there on the side, yeah.
But
yeah, actually, yeah. It looks like a cannon. It looks like it's got the wheels there buried in the silt.
So where you see the wheels, that's actually another pipe. Whatever. It's just an intake and an outtake. But it looked like a cannon. I said, "Oh my God, we're gonna make history, and I'm gonna get to dive on a Civil War relic."
Yeah. Nope.
But other than that, no. I would love to dive on a shipwreck, preferably something that nobody's ever dove on. Because all that other stuff's already been searched through. I want to find something that's never been looked at, that would be neat to explore something that, because there's actually a plane wreck that we're gonna up in New York somewhere. I would like to dive on it just to see it.
Okay, I know you get this question a lot. What is the weirdest thing you have found in the water?
I mean, other than
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
Yes.
I
mean, I wouldn't call it. I
don't
wouldn't
know.
call that weird. It's just, I mean, it's but
Weird.
I don't necessarily know if there's anything like weird. I mean, like,
or something that stands out to you that you just like. Okay, how did that get, or why is that in here?
I guess for me, like the amount of solo crocs that are in the water. I like you'll be going down the water, you're like, oh, there's a croc. Oh, there's a croc. Oh, there's a croc. I mean the shoes, Crocs. But I'm like, what was going on in your life that you lost one shoe and didn't realize
Get
it?
on the boat. Getting on the boat.
Like that, I think that's one of those things that always amazes me is the amount, because Crocs float in the water.
Probably the other one is probably downstream somewhere.
But I think that's the always weirdest thing to me is the amount of single shoes that you find in the water. Other than that, fishing pools. I'm amazed at the amount of fishing pools that we find. I never realized that many people lost their fishing pools.
We have in our community. That's a normal thing. Yeah, there's a lot of people that can tell you right now where a fishing pole went down, and they probably would love to have you go dive on it to get their fishing pole back.
Hey, I searched for a $250 pole, a bass fisherman. He had me going all the way around this area. I find that thing for 3 or 4 hours. Plus.
Because the fish doesn't tuck off with it.
I know. So we have a place called Bellsmith Springs. I have found 10, maybe 15 Apple Watches. The craziest, weirdest thing I've ever seen underwater was somebody's hairpiece, like full on wig, was down there.
I think I was with you when that happened.
I'm like, whoa!
Yeah,
because I'm grabbing
that would be yeah.
I'm looking. So
because at first you would think it's just like a pile of like what we call seaweed or something like that, or grass or something, but yeah,
no, it was a full on wig. I found dresses. I think.
Let's see.
I'm pretty sure with the amount of like fishing poles, line, hooks, lures, weights, we could probably outfit your whole channel and every single one of your followers with like 2 poles each, with just the amount of fishing gear that we find, especially on cars. There's time, like we pulled out one car and it was just completely covered in fishing line, hooks, lures. Thankfully, that was just a car that was just abandoned and stolen. But that's something that will always, and I mean, it's kind of a hazard for us. It's something we have to watch out for, but I mean, we could outfit your channel, all of your subscribers with like 2 poles each with the amount of things that we find down there.
with the amount of, so I fish with braid. That's all I fish with anymore is braid. But the amount of braid that are on cars is ridiculous. Like I was going away from the car trying to get back to the tow truck line, and it caught on my fin. Well, I tried to rip it off. Well, you can't rip braid, so I had to turn around, get out of my BCD because it was caught on my tank and on my fin, cut it, and then put my stuff back on underwater. It's a huge hazard. So.
Let's see.
Do you have any meet and greet scheduled for this year? Not so far.
We don't have one scheduled. We are going to the Northeast August and September. So it's places that we've never really been before. as far as, working cases. So do you want to potentially try to set something up for that area? I'm just not sure yet where and when it will be, but sometime August or September.
Creel asked a pretty good question, or made a statement about what we do is pretty heavy on our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It is scary, everything that we do every single day. I can tell you exactly what happened, how it happened, how I felt. Same with her. But finding a lost loved one outweighs all of our grief. And it's a beautiful thing to help the families. And we put I can't say that word,
Compartmentalize.
Yeah. For the families. We put ourselves in the forefront to be able to accept what we see and what we do to help these families. It's an incredible thing, an incredible feeling. Yes, it sucks at first, but you can watch the relief off the families when we bring.
It's more, it's not the cases that we solve that stick with me. It's the ones that we don't solve. The ones that we solve, it's heartbreaking because you're taking that hope away. But at the same time, like, you can kind of find this peace in that journey, because for that family, they're wondering and they're worried it's over. They can begin a healing process and they can start to celebrate their loved one's life versus, worrying all the time. Where are they? What's happened to them? That kind of thing. It's the ones that we don't solve that affect me the most, because I'm like, where else do we go? What else can we do? So I guess I'm a little backwards in that thinking. But for me, that's
Avid fisherman. Yes, we're in Southern Illinois.
So to kind of close off everything we've been talking about, what is something you kind of want to tell, like, the people that have supported you all these years, have watched you, all the new people that's been watching you? What is something like you want to portray to them about what you do? What is something like a statement that you say, like, hey,
I always say, keep diving, is not where to stop. Keep pushing in life. But no, from when I started YouTube, I never thought I would ever do this. And for the people who started with me and we grew together and we always talked on fishing, there's a lot of people in here that I know, avid fishermen. I've known him for a long time. There's people out there that have watched us from the fishing community that still watch and support us. And I just want to say thank you for that. You're more than welcome at any time coming into the channel. I'm always going to say hi to you. If it's like, if we're doing what we're doing now, if we're making an announcement, may open it up for questions, stuff like that. But if we're just chilling and stuff like that, absolutely, please come and say hi.
Yeah.
You guys I know where I came from, and I'll never forget anybody who supports me the way that they have done. So just like Kevin, he's always been there. So
absolutely.
What about you?
I guess the biggest thing would just be thank you, but that really doesn't encompass what that truly means to us. Just saying thank you doesn't really truly describe how grateful we are that we've been put in this position to, we've been afforded an opportunity to help families when they have no place else to turn because of the people who support us. So putting us in this position, thank you isn't enough, but there's no other words than to just a sincere, honest thank you.
And when we say it's because of you guys, it is because of you guys. Like, we couldn't make it without the YouTube community, even if it's fishing, metal detecting, because I was metal detector, kayaking, everything. I never thought in my entire life that I'd ever do what I'm doing now. I was a coal miner for 12 years. Like, this never was a thing. And when I found out about it and I started doing it, and then I seen the support that I was getting from YouTube, it's just a beautiful thing. So, I mean, just like she said, there's really no thanks that can fathom how much we appreciate each and every one of you. So,
Absolutely, and we appreciate you taking out of your busy day, because we know that you all are, like you said, you literally just got home when we started this.
yeah.
So, and I know Kevin would say that if he was here. We do appreciate everything you all do for everybody in the community, everybody around, and um, taking your time coming on the show and talking with us about what you do, to help us kind of understand what you do, and also the electronic part of how you use it, so what we can use it in what we do when it comes to the fishing aspect of it, which we could talk about that more later on, because I would really love to have you actually sitting on the boat and actually go through using electronics while you're on the boat, which we would definitely be planning that for another day. Definitely, if you all have time to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
We could more than, we would have to find a spot where we had good service, because a lot of our sucks
Yeah.
service. But we'll definitely find a good spot to do it in. And absolutely, I mean, I'll go through what I know. She'll go through what she knows. We've learned together. We're self-taught, and our process. I mean, other than Team Waters showing us giving us the backbone, with us learning from theirs, it's been phenomenal. So absolutely, we'll do.
But I do appreciate everybody staying in here and hanging out with us. We've got 29 wonderful people in here. If you hadn't hit that thumbs up, and make sure you do that before you leave. Make sure you go over and sub over to Chaos Divers. We've got where else do they need to kind of go over and help support you all? Depths of History.
And Rider Dive.
And Rider Dive.
Rider Dive, yeah.
So there's also something else I want to say. If you guys, cat fishermen out there, bass fishermen, people with the sonars, if you guys see something and you want us to dive on it, get a hold of us. We'll come out there. If we're heading that direction, or we'll schedule a time that we'll go out there. Like, if you guys know where cars are, I know that some of that is really good fishing. Trust me, I know how fishing is. At least have us go down there and check to make sure there's no one in it. Stuff like that. So,
absolutely,
because there was one case of a Samantha Hopper, the best bass fishing area. I think is if it's not the top 10, it's the top 20. What was it? Lake
Dardanelle down in Russellville, Arkansas.
For 23 years, she was underneath a bridge. There's people out there that's got way more equipment, like huge 19-inch screens. And I know they've seen them. Just, let us kind of know about them, and we can go and check on them, stuff like that.
And a lot of us that do have all the electronics, I mean, they have GPS, and you can lock that point down, and hey, here's the coordinates, and say, hey, if you're ever in this area, here's the coordinates for a vehicle. I mean, that's all you need to do, is really just give you the coordinates. And I mean, that like you said, the vehicle ain't going nowhere. It's there. It's not moving.
Yeah.
So that coordinate's going to work no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's how fishermen can be a huge benefit to us. And even start your sonars on at the boat ramp. You're gonna find a lot of vehicles there.
And even some of the cheaper ones, I know the one that's on my boat. It's not no expensive one, but it's got GPS on it. So I mean, I know I can lock up, even though I can't see everything that's underwater like a lot of people with the side scans and stuff like that. But at least if I know something's down there, I can at least lock that GPS in and say, hey, here's the coordinates for this.
Exactly.
There's something there. But
behind you, I think in the restaurant, bread not too far from your area. Patty Settlement. That's where that was from.
Yeah. But
okay. Avid Fisherman, send me that again. Like I said, we're at that point now that we can go and look at stuff. So I appreciate your time, buddy. It's
no
been
problem. Yeah, I know you're probably tired. Y'all need to get some rest.
I was at 7-hour drive.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so
we got to get
appreciate y'all taking the time. So we will close this out, and we will see you all, everybody, on the next one. So,
all right, I appreciate it, and hopefully Kevin's doing okay. I'll give him a holler tonight.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.